Well, hello everyone, and welcome once again to Ignite with Sandy on the platform of Celestia. So, I hope you all remember us because we come to you every week, and every week we bring you wonderful guests from different parts of the world. They have different professions, they have different interests, and we always try to keep it interesting and more important, inspiring. Because you know what Ignite with Sandy is, right? We get you to fire up your neurons so that you can go out and make positive changes in your life, do what you want, be happy, be successful, and most of all, enjoy life. And my guest today is one such person. I came to know her a couple of years ago when I was looking for somebody to beautify me for an event. And I'd spoken to her in some place and I said, you know what, the vibes are good. Let me just try it out. And so I reached her place and she was quite unconventional for a makeup artist. But who am I to say anything? So, I was expecting, oh, now this will be done and that will be done. And everything that she did was different. So I kept my peace. And when I saw the result, I was, whoa, this is fabulous. And over the years, I have made use of my guest's wonderful expertise. But what I like about her is when you sitting in front of her, she treats you with so much love. That's the word I use because every stroke, everything that she does on your face is with love. And that makes such a difference. And as she does the makeup, she gets to know you better and you get to know her better. But I also have to tell you this every time I've been to her house, I've been treated to the most amazing cookies and snacks that she makes. And then I realized, she's using me as a guinea pig to find out whether it's tasty or not. And I have to tell you, it is awesome. So I'm not going to take any more of your time. I'm going to bring on my multi talented, full of life, full of exuberance guest for today. Come on and join us, my dear.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you so much for having me. Oh, thank you for that
Okay.
beautiful introduction as well. That just that warmed my heart. You're so sweet. Honestly, you've been one of my most favorite clients up to date. I can tell you that. So who am I? My name is Beta Golchin. I am Iranian by nationality, but born and raised in Dubai. I grew up here. I saw all the changes. The first question everybody asks me is like, "Oh my God, you must have seen the changes." Yes, that has happened. Um, so yeah, I went to college, undergrad in London, and then I came back in '97. So I'm giving my age, but I'm 48. I turned 48 this year. And then 12 years later, when I came back from the UK, I was working in exhibitions. I did marketing with Disney films. I was the event manager at event venue manager in TCOM, where the concerts are held in Dubai Media City Amphitheater. So I was managing the venue there. And then yeah, and so my background is just so crazy. From there, I hold two master's degrees. I went to the US because I lost my job in the recession like everybody else. And so there my career just took off in a different whole other direction that I did not expect, into makeup artistry, even though I have two masters, one in project management and one in IT. People were looking at me like, are you
What?
crazy? What are you doing in IT? And a lot of people were thinking I was a spy because I was a makeup artist and I was in IT. So they're like, oh, she must be a espionage because there's nobody that has these two combinations of skills. But that's what I was doing. And yeah, so I moved back in 2019 and pursued makeup artistry as a coach and as services to clients. And I had a lot of doors open for me. I had wonderful connections. Got to meet so many people. I got to express myself, creatively. And I'm still doing that, but I went into different paths as well. I went back to full circle into art because that's what started all of this to begin with.
Okay.
So that's where I am
So
right now.
I just want to stop you there, Beta, before you go forward. And can you tell us why you needed to do two master's degrees? I mean, people are happy doing one, and it takes a lot of their energy and a lot of
Oh
their
my God.
time
Mm.
to do one.
I
Okay,
know.
and
I
here
know.
you
I
are
did not
doing
expect to
two.
do two.
Okay, so what was the logic behind
Okay.
that, and how did
You're
you
gonna
go
laugh. You're
about
gonna
it?
laugh, Sandy, because I just didn't want to come back to Dubai. And that was the
Okay.
only way I could stay in the United States. Because to be honest, leaving Dubai was just hard. It was hard for me to stay, actually. It was easy for me to leave. But staying in the US was also hard because of my nationality. And it
Okay.
was politically very difficult for me. I was in Washington, D.C., of all states. And I was doing project management as a master's degree, the first one in 2010, graduated in 2013. Which was 10 years ago. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Like more than 10 years, 11 years ago. And and they allow you to work as a student for 12 months as under that degree level, right? So I just couldn't find, and I didn't know anything about internships. I didn't, like, nobody educated me about the opportunities to, to what to look out for when you're in the US as an international student. I was completely on my own. I had no family there. I just picked up and I went. Country I was in the U.S. when I was 2, so I can say I was never there. And so I was navigating. I was trying to navigate how I can make it here, how I can stay and work and experience the life. Because I wanted. I mean, I came all the way from Dubai. It was such a shame to just go back after 2 years, right? So I tried I tried to find so many jobs, and I was not working out because of my nationality. And in DC, you have to have security clearance. A lot of jobs are government contract jobs, especially in project management. And so I had so many obstacles. The odds were all against me, Sandy, but I just fought. I fought hard, and I was like, I'm going to find a way. And I'm like that. I'm very stubborn when I want something. I always try to find a way, even in the darkest, most craziest situations. So I found a lawyer through some connections, and the best thing is to have connections, Sandy. Anywhere you go, as best as you can. I can only advise anybody, just make sure your connections are strong, because that's where it can save you, really. So through a college friend that I knew from UK, I found an international lawyer who was then able to guide me through and navigate through the legal ways of staying in DC. So I got a work visa after trying for, like, I think a few months. We tried, and we put a case study together and everything, and I opened a company, an LLC, and I was BG Corporations. And so through that, I was able to then find a job. And the only job that I could find was in Sephora as a makeup artist. And it was so weird because um no, sorry, I'm jumping. It was after the project management, right? So it was why I stayed to do the second master. Sorry, my mind is like, you know. So
It's okay.
and then I found out through I heard that there was a meeting with some, like, a lawyer coming in to talk to, like, international lawyer coming to talk to students about, job opportunities and stuff. And because I had done 12 months of the masters in project management, and I had I worked, but it was odd jobs. It wasn't like in what I wanted, in what I had studied. And I heard, and so the lawyer told me if I did a second master's in IT, because they're calling it the STEM, so science,
Hmm.
technology, engineering, and
Yes.
mathematics, then I could have 29 months to work as a student. So I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect solution. I don't have to kill myself to find a sponsor. I could just do a second master's and then I could just work as a student for 29 months and giving me enough time to find a job and find a sponsor. So
So
that was
did
the
you
whole
find
point of it.
did you find a job?
When I graduated, Sandy, I found out that I was not allowed to work as a student for 29 months. I was lied to. The only way I could have stayed was if I had done a PhD. So I was not allowed to stay. I was not allowed to have that opportunity as a student under the same degree level.
So that was obstacle after obstacle after obstacle.
That's when I found a lawyer. And that's when I
Okay.
got the work visa. And that's when I ended up working with Sephora. And it was like 2013, 2014. No, 2014, 2015. I remember it like it was yesterday. I stopped my Facebook page. I got off Facebook because I was like, social media, it's like distracting me from everything. And I went on to Instagram. Imagine from one to the other. But when I went to Instagram, I noticed, and that was like beginning of when like the makeup artists were starting to share their talents and skills on YouTube. So I discovered this whole world of makeup artistry that didn't exist before. And so I was fascinated. I got into it. This was while I was doing my second master's in IT. And I just started to copy what other people were doing. I was like building
Okay.
my page as a social media. What?
Now, I want you to tell us a little about. Okay, so everybody can do makeup, and you use this and you use that, and Sephora's got everything. But what is it that you have in you that was
Okay.
making you more popular as a makeup artist?
I was connecting with people on a whole other level, like what you described in the beginning. I was so grateful that you noticed that because I love people. I love connecting. I love talking to people. And I love to make people feel beautiful. I don't just want them to look beautiful.
Yeah.
So I was talking to some of my clients in Sephora, and they kept coming back for me. And everybody was wondering why. And they could start to see a signature look that
Okay.
when they would go to the counter to pay for the products that they purchased after me doing their makeup, people would always say, Beta did your makeup, right? And they would be like, yes. So I started to have this natural yet like I made people feel good. And I think it's really what's inside that shows on the outside. It's not, I mean, the whole idea is the mindset. This is what I'm trying to get at. The whole title of this thing is make up your mind. It's it's the inner beauty that shows on the outer beauty, you know?
Yes.
The outer beauty is just an enhancer of what it is already there. And so I learned to tap into that. I learned to tap into people's mindset and the heart and bring out things that they couldn't see in themselves,
Yes.
you know? And I was expressing it through my art. I was expressing it through the tools I had so that they can see what I saw potentially in them,
Yes.
you know?
And one thing I want to point out over here to all our listeners is that every time I came to you for makeup, it was always for a different occasion.
Mm.
It was, either it was corporate or an interview or a gala, and you understood that perfectly. So every photograph I have, I look different
Yeah.
because
I
I suit the program that I'm going for, and that's the difference. Because I've over the years I've had quite a few people do my makeup,
mm,
and there's just you and two more who actually got it right. Otherwise,
really.
it's like the cookie cutter. Everybody
Yeah.
sits there,
This
paint,
is
paint, paint. Oh, come on, it looks
It's
awful.
terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah,
That's what I learned not to do through these YouTube videos.
yeah,
I was like looking at them. I was doing it on my face and I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to look like. Why do I look so cakey? Why do I look so dry? And the products that they were using, they were obviously using it for effect on YouTube.
yes,
It's not how people wear makeup on everyday life, you know? They wanted it for entertainment purposes. YouTube is entertainment. It's not an educational platform, especially when it comes for makeup. I mean,
yes,
you have to put more in order for it to be able to translate better on camera, you know? So I learned what not to do through YouTube. So thank you, makeup artists, and I was able to practice on myself and know what I like, so that then I can translate that to other people.
Yeah, so
And
now did you write a book on it?
I did. So I wrote Boss Glam. This book is a creation of basically a compilation of all my passions in fashion, because I loved, like, when I was working in corporate, I was always dressed up. I was always put together, and everyone was always asking me, "Where did you get that? How did you do this? How did you put this together?" You know what I mean? And I would notice, like, how people dressed at work or in corporate events, and they were like as if they're going to a nightclub or they're going to a wedding, and I'm like, this is corporate, you're still at work. So I thought, okay, let me educate. So I put this book together for men and women, on styling for corporate, as well as makeup. So as a
Okay.
makeup artist, I thought, yes, I will include that in. And because the book doesn't have pictures, I during COVID, when there was a lockdown and nobody was allowed to go anywhere, I was bored out of my head. I was like, okay, I'm going to create 50 videos that go with this book. And I'm going to put it as a link with every purchase of this book. So I basically put together a very simplified version of makeup, of corporate makeup, that everybody can learn for their specific
Okay.
face shape, eye shape, skin tone, and occasion. And so,
Okay.
yeah, that's what
So,
that.
so what I'm the message I'm getting from you, and as I've interviewed so many people in the last couple of weeks, everybody has the thing. Oh, COVID! I can't do anything. I can't go out. I can't meet people. I'm depressed. I can't meet deadlines. I don't know how to generate income. And there you are, sitting in creative mode in the most restrictive atmosphere, and coming up with something like this. So I think that's a very strong message that everything starts with you. And irrespective of the circumstances, you can do something if you decide to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so grateful to my days of YouTube in the US, where I was like, I had all the equipment and the cameras, the lighting, the backdrop, everything. And I was like, I need to make use of this. I can, I don't, I hate wasting time, Sandy. I'm the kind of person that even if I am, I don't know, like, there's I feel like as a human being we need to be creative and productive, otherwise we're not making service, like,
Yes.
we're not justifying humanity. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people say I'm bored, it's because you're boring. You're not bored because you expect other people to entertain you. Entertain yourself. Like, read a book, cook something, learn something. We have the privilege right now of so much free information, on so many different platforms, and people they're just lazy. They don't want to do something for themselves. They want people to hold their hand to do things for
Yes.
them. You know,
Exactly.
you
They
know
want to be led.
led, yeah. And so they don't want to be leaders. They don't want to take the initiative and motivate themselves. It's like, you're never going to have someone tell you what to do all the time. I mean, you're an adult, for God's sake. Make up your own decisions. I guess
Right.
people just don't want to grow up. They just want someone to
So,
tell them what to do all the time.
so when we selected this title, "Make Up Your Mind,"
Yeah.
what did you have in mind?
I had so much in mind. I just wanted people to realize that they have so much to express and to discover about themselves, that they haven't even touched the surface.
Yes.
And it all starts with our mind. I mean, as women, we, especially the beauty industry, they put makeup on to flaunt, to feel good about themselves, to say, I have the latest product, or I have this makeup artist, or I have this celebrity artist, or this celebrity artist has this product. It's just so superficial. And yet, if you really look deep, and I have discovered this for myself, like, as my own guinea pig for my own experiment. And I realized the times during that whole period of me starting out my makeup, the artistry, I was literally I was depressed, Sandy. I was hiding behind that makeup as a distraction to not deal with the inner emotions that I was going through. I mean, doing two masters and not being able to find a job is not something small. And for me, like, because makeup was a distraction, it was a way for me to ignore the reality of my current situation and to just throw myself in art to feel good about myself. But that was
Okay.
that was just a band-aid, that wasn't dealing with it. But when I came back and COVID hit and I was left with finding a way, a source of income that I would be able to rely on consistently and not have to worry about it. I realized, like, once everything just stopped, when like suddenly you dealt with facing yourself and facing your demons and facing the reality of your situation, that's when I woke up. That's when, I mean, I had practiced doing energy healing and meditation and all that as well, but I wasn't consistent with that. And I realized I wish I had. That was one regret, Sandy, that I wished I just continued with that practice because it really grounds you. It really gets you to the heart of all your issues that you keep burying under the carpet. You keep burying with distraction, with work, with people, with socializing, with going out. And I think the world realized how much work they need to do on themselves during the
Yes.
lockdown, during COVID. It really shook everybody to the core, and everybody had to face themselves in their marriages, in their work, in their lives with their children, like n- throughout the day, 8 hours, kids are in school, husbands are at work, and now suddenly everybody's under one roof. And what are you going to do? Like, you're there, and everybody's in our lives to teach us something about ourselves. Well, guess what? Everybody learned about themselves because of everyone was there to, but I was by myself. I was by myself. So
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask you because
yes,
you had no sort of a support system, even somebody to
nothing,
irritate you. You were
nothing.
by
My
yourself.
dog was my irritation.
So
She still
how
does.
did you deal with that? How did you deal
Oh,
with
I
that? And
I
how did you make it more constructive and positive?
I faced the truth. I read books. I signed up to programs that literally helped me understand myself better, deal with my childhood traumas, all the memories, all the things I buried, understanding why things happened the way they did, and then trying to to get perspective of of how much stronger I am now that I understand these things. So it just gave me perspective, and I did the work, Sandy. I did the work as hard as it was, as tedious as it was, as scary as it was. I faced the fear, and I put I was fed up. I was fed up of feeling like that. It was just on and off, for me, all my life. I just, with work, you get busy, you distract yourself from dealing with it. Then you go to school, you distract yourself from dealing with it. Then you have a social life and you get a boyfriend, you just, the things come up, but you don't know why they're there. And so when suddenly I was faced with the truth of who I am and what I need to do to change and become better, everything fell into place. I started to understand my parents, I started to understand my sister, my relationships, why they didn't work out, why I was in that situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything started to make sense. And then I was there, and then I took it with me into my work. And it helped me understand people better, and in a lot of ways it just made me a stronger person, and it made me more approachable. It made me more, people felt that energy. We're all energy, right? And when you talk when you talk to someone at a certain, like, a level,
Hmm.
they appreciate it. You're not giving this surface level
Yeah,
facade anymore. And because you're open, they're open. Like, we
yes,
are all reflections of each other, right?
correct.
So, and till this day, I have clients that I knew from, like, years ago. They're still remembering me. They're still reaching out, and I'm just like, oh my god, you build friendships with this.
Yes, quite
And
true, quite true.
It's
So,
beautiful. It's beautiful. So, and it's also how you see yourself. W- so what I'm trying to say, the reason why it's make up your mind is it starts with your mind, so that you deal with the situations and you don't cover it up with just distractions. And makeup for a lot of people is a distraction.
yes,
I mean, people might hate me for saying this, but it's the truth, and we have to face it.
quite
Like,
true. But
and
Beta, what
now,
I want, sorry to
no,
interrupt, darling,
no,
but
no, go ahead.
yeah, because the reason I'm asking this question is because it's very inconvenient for me. You moved away so far.
No, I told you, I still have connections. I still have my Dubai Marina.
But
Um,
I want you to share why you have a beautiful place in the Dubai Marina. It's posh, it's
yeah,
upmarket, it's like where people would die to be, and you gave that up
I
and you
did. I didn't
moved
give
to
it up. I
something. No,
rented it.
no,
I
you
used it
decided
as
to
a
move from there.
resource. I
Yeah.
used
So
it as
why?
a resource. Okay.
So tell us about that.
Okay. So when COVID hit and there was no jobs, and I was living in my apartment in Dubai Marina. It was like the first poshest place you could think of. I decorated it to the nines. And then I realized I have no income. Because when I was in the US, that was my source of income. Extra. From when I was working as a makeup artist, I had extra, because makeup artistry doesn't pay well in the US. It's BS, literally. So this was my extra source. This was my backup. So when I moved back to Dubai, and when COVID hit and I couldn't have a job, I was sitting on my resource of income, on my security, on my asset. And I was like, why am I living in a place where I could be getting money from? So the day I decided I'm going to move out was the day I realized that I because when I was in the US, my sister was managing the apartment service fees with my dad, because they were helping me because I was a student there, right? When I moved back, we had a fallout, all of us, because again, all this stuff that I brought up that you're dealing with. I did not know that the service fees were not being paid the moment I came back. So while I was in the house, and it was this third year that I was there, second year, and I wanted to move out thinking I can rent my place, I realized service fees hadn't been paid and I couldn't move out, and I couldn't get anyone to move in. So I was stuck. I was against a wall, and I couldn't even ask my dad to help me. And I was like, what do I do? And I had never in my life borrowed anything from anybody. I was that independent, in my 20s and my 30s. I was not even asking my dad. I was like, I had a great career, but I lost everything. I had to come back and start from scratch. And now I was stuck with, you know, with barely anything and not being able to find a way out. So I had to reach out. I reached out to close friends, and thank God I had friends that were able to support me and help me, and I was able to pay them back on time. But and I think that God literally had a helping hand in this, because there was no way I could have, and the timing, my goodness, when decided to move out after I negotiated with Emar about the service fees and they agreed, I found a studio. And I was able to then to rent my apartment furnished and get six figures every year without having to worry about how that's going to come, where that's going to come.
Yes.
And so, and with that security, I was then able to continue to do what I loved, because I would have hated it to work with someone, and plus with everything that had happened to me in my past, losing my job in recession, and then trying to find a job when during the COVID and all that, because nobody was going out, nobody was going to events. So I had to find alternative sources of income. So I tried e-commerce for some time, and it didn't work out. I was miserable, Sandy. I was like, I'm not made for this. I think you reach a stage in your career where you know what you want, and you'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, right? And your priorities change. Your idea about safety and money and security and all of this changes to you completely. So I realized, I'm like, I'm not that person that was striving to be the CEO or this, you know what I'm saying? Like I just wanted to do something that I loved and enjoyed, and that I could do that and earn something from it, even if it's little, but at least I have a backup now, you know? So I continued with makeup artistry, and I just said, you know what, whatever happens, happens. I'm going to make the best of it, you know? And then I just started to like realize that I want to paint. I wanted to express myself. And I think, Sandy, it came at the time when my inner child was healed.
So,
Because
what, talking about painting, why did you
yes.
suddenly decide painting? Do you have a background in art and
Yes.
painting?
I
What
mean,
about?
the whole makeup artistry came about because I had that talent as a child. In high
Okay,
school, I was an art student. I loved art. It was one of my favorite pastimes. In the summer holidays when we would go to Iran, I would just, as a hobby for fun, I would sit everybody down and do their portraits. And because I was familiar with the face structure, it helped me with my makeup artistry. So that was hand in hand, you know? And so yeah, and one day I was called into the principal's office, and I was like, I thought something was wrong. I thought I does it because usually when the principal calls you in, you're in trouble. And it turns out that my art teacher had went behind my back and submitted an artwork that I'd done of a woman with makeup and her hair, and I had won a bronze medal in a Japanese international youth art competition. And I was like, oh my god, you know. And suddenly when I was doing all the work, because it's a daily thing, you know, it's not something that you just do once and then you forget about. Healing is a daily task. I wake up with mantras, I wake up with meditation, I have inspiration everywhere. I go into nature. I You know, there's so many sources of things that I rely on. Not people anymore, I rely on myself, God's creation, nature, to ground me. And so once I was in in the midst of my inner child healing, and I just got this urge to start painting again. So I bought primary colors, I bought a couple of paintbrushes and a canvas, and then I just started, and I started, and people were starting to comment on, you know, on social media, because I was posting my work there. And now I've like reached out to galleries, and I've got interest from people abroad looking to purchase my paintings. And I do it with love. I do it when I do it with background music of mantras, and so I find it's very healing. It's not just for me, but for someone that actually looks at these paintings.
yes.
And the good news is, Sandy, while I was doing all this, and I was doing, you know, the work, and one of the works I do is the inner child, like I mentioned, and it's part of the Ho'oponopono. I don't know if you're familiar with Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian cleansing and healing prayer that comes. It's a very ancient prayer, and Joe Vitale has done it. I don't know if your viewers know anything about it. Anyway, it's four phrases that you say: "I love you," "I'm sorry," "Please forgive me," "Thank you." So I was repeating this constantly, thinking about my family, thinking about my, you know, because everybody was dispersed. Nobody was talking to each other. And it'd been 3 years. And suddenly, out of the blue, my father reaches out, and I'm just like, oh my God, this works. And I show him my paintings, and he's just like, wow, this is amazing. And recently, this is just like 2 months ago, Sandy, on my birthday, I decide I'm going to go to his office, and I'm going to gift him two paintings. And the paintings were of a candle in a window with rain,
Okay.
and another one was a deep hidden cave with like a waterfall, and it was like depth, and it just had this meaning that I knew I had to give him because he needed to see this, and it was healing me while I was painting it, and I knew it was going to heal him. When he saw these paintings, Sandy, he had tears in his eyes, and he couldn't believe it. And it was crazy because at the same time I was while I was trying to do the healing on him, I was doing the healing on my sister. When that day I go to give him my paintings, my sister is in the office and she walked in through the door. And this was the first time in 3 years I had seen and spoken to my sister. So we
Wonderful.
start hugging in front of my dad. My dad's like this. He's just like, I can't believe this is happening because none of us were talking to each other. Suddenly, all of this was happening and we were all sitting there laughing, talking, saying stories. My cousin comes in, other colleagues come in, and I made a roulade cake. So and my dad forced me to give it to everybody in the office. I mean, everybody had like this much piece of birthday cake, and he was like, why didn't you tell me it's your birthday? I'm like, why do I have to tell you it's my birthday? You should know it's my.
Well, they sometimes forget.
No, I forget all the time.
Mm.
Anyways, but all like that's what I'm trying to say is like it's healing, and when you heal yourself and when you translate that through art, you can heal people. And I truly believe that these paintings have healing qualities in them. And so, yeah, so my mission right now is to kind of like spread this love of
Yeah.
art everywhere. And I wanted to do a supper club because that was my other passion, cooking. But I realized like it takes a lot of work and a lot of
Yeah.
effort and time. It's not easy to cook for
So,
like
but
18 to 18
okay.
people.
So
So yeah,
coming to the fact that you're a very successful makeup artist, and
yes,
you're a very successful uh, writer. You got your book out, and now you have moved into art, and you are enjoying that. The degrees that you worked so hard to get, the master's degrees, how is that helping you in your life and in your business?
oh, you have no idea how much I have learned outside and because of these degrees. The discipline that I have right now is because of these degrees. The belief in myself that if I put my mind to something that I've never done before or I have done but I never pursued, and to work hard and to give it a chance to grow, you know, is because of these degrees. The whole process of project management is in my cooking, is in my makeup, is in my art. It's all a process. It's all breaking it down into small little projects, little fractions of steps and tasks, which is in project management, translated into everyday life. You know, the whole move coming to Dubai from the US was because of my project management skills that I was able to put everything together in 3 months and close everything up and come down here, I mean, I think it gives you a whole new perspective. It gives you a simplified version of solving problems.
Okay.
It helps you construct. I mean, it helped me with my book because it was a project at the end. I had to to write paragraphs and chapters and work with the publisher and get it out, and then creating the videos was a project, putting the ideas together, putting the filming, the resources, the budget, you know what I'm saying, like everything in life is project management. And
Yes.
IT was the same because now look at us, we're all living on the internet, everything's internet, communication and security and all of this was things that I've learned. Like, albeit it was like now 6 7 years ago, and really the world has changed in the past 6 7 years, which now I feel like if I wanted to do an IT job, I would have to go back and redo another master's because it's just so different, and I'm
Yeah.
different. But I think nevertheless it just makes you stronger. It's the discipline, because
Yes.
it's waking up early, knowing knowing what you have to do, scheduling yourself, being your own boss, not having
Yes.
someone telling you what to do,
Right.
motivating yourself to do it. You know what I mean? This is
Yes.
what it taught me. I might not have a job in project management or construction or whatever, maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I know I'm not happy. And I know that it's my happiness, my priorities right now is doing what I love, waking up. I mean, I swear I can tell you so many people. would love to be in my position right now because of the fact that I'm doing what I love and I'm not killing myself trying to make a living. People are killing themselves. They have beautiful homes. They have so much, but they're not enjoying it because they're always at work, doing work, earning a living to try to for what? You know what I'm saying? Like you want to enjoy your life. You want to
Yes,
appreciate the small things. You want to enjoy a cup of coffee. You don't want to be rushed out the door, jump into your car, go into stuck in traffic. I work from home. I wake up when I want. I paint with love, with I listen to my meditation, and and I have my security. I have my financial security through my apartment, which one day I will go back, but I might even use that as my second source of income. And when I get enough, I will move into a big villa and I will have my art studio in there. I will have my supper club. I will, these are the dreams I have for myself. And
that's wonderful.
it doesn't
Yeah,
include a man. It doesn't include, finding someone to take care of me. Or, no, and even my dad, like I think his whole life he wanted as a success, like his definition of success is for my daughters to not need me.
yes,
And I
yes.
think I have reached that because I
Wonderful.
I don't need him. I mean, I don't want to compare myself to my sister because she's gone down a different path and she's now like I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyway, not
everybody's
my
different. Everyone's
everybody's
different.
different. Everyone's different. But honestly, like I think this time in my life is the most happy, the most at peace, the most successful. I think my definition of success is just being here right now, is
Very good.
enjoying the moment right now, not caring about what other people are doing, not caring about what other people are saying about me or thinking about me. I am minding my own business. I am happy in my own little sanctuary and I am doing what I love. I mean, what more can someone ask for, you know?
Quite true. And on that happy note, we're going to close this because I think all our viewers have got a very good idea about how you can have a very simple life, but you can have a very enjoyable life. So thank
Yeah.
you very much, Beta,
Thank
for
you. Thank
being
you for
with us.
having me.
Yes, and it's been wonderful. You energized all of us who are
Thank
listening
you
now
so
and will
much.
listen in the
Sorry,
future.
my dog is.
So I'll catch you later, and I'm going to
Okay.
sign off, right?
All right. Yes. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Vita. You were absolutely awesome, and you made some very valid points. One of the ones that I like, because I'm all about financial planning, is downsize to upsize. So you downsized because you realized that was the best option for you. You could have your financial security, you could have do all that you needed to do without having to worry about how you make payments. You didn't get into debt because you made a very wise decision. That's one. The second one was education never goes to waste. Okay, you had those degrees, you worked very hard for them, but as you said, it taught you a lot. And even in life today, you utilize all that stuff that you learned so many years ago. And the third thing that I like is you have to be a self-starter. You can't depend on others to make you happy. You are responsible for your own happiness, for your own peace of mind. And when you get that, everything in your life changes and becomes better. And as you said, you have this issue with your father, but when you healed yourself, you were able to reach out and heal him as well. So that's a wonderful thing, and I think you're at a wonderful stage in your life where things are moving in the way that you would like them to move, not somebody else. You are in charge of your destiny, you are in charge of your life. And I think that is the biggest message that we are sending out today on Ignite with Sandy and Beta. So thank you very much. Now remember what you have to do. You have to like us, you have to subscribe to us, and you have to give our comments on these fabulous videos that we bring to you. So until next week, when we bring another fascinating guest, thank you very much for watching and God bless from all of us. Take care.